Well, good morning. How is everybody doing this morning? Good. Now, what do we usually do with the sermon time when it's Children's Liturgy Sunday? Mystery box? Is that what you were going to say, Owen? Okay. Does anybody know where the mystery box is? Over there? Would you all like to very carefully go and get the mystery box and bring it back? Good teamwork, excellent. All right. So carefully put it down and teamwork, open it up. And can you tell everybody what's inside there? Candles. What do candles do for us? What do candles do for us? Anyone?
Light.
They give us light. And when do we need light? In the darkness. Right? When it's dark, we need lights. So use your imagination and think back through history for a second. And did you know that there was a time when we didn't have electricity? Yeah. What did we use for light when we didn't have electricity? Owen?
Candles.
Candles. Things that burned. That's right. So, if you can imagine, we have really nice stained glass, but not all churches had nice stained glass that let in some light. Could you imagine really small windows that just let in a little bit of light and only let a little bit of the maybe warm air out to try and keep it warmer inside? How would anybody see in the middle of the day? By candlelight, that's right. Now, can you look up at the altar? We have some candles up there. Is that enough light for everybody to see? No, we would need candles. There would be candles all down the wall. There might be some torches around. But now, can I ask Yuri and your name? Sydney. Okay, if you look over by Sharon and over just past where Jackie is, up there, there's some very special candles. And they're in stands. Can you guys go grab them and bring them back? They're supposed to flicker. Although maybe some of them more than others. Excellent. Thank you. Now, just before we had this sermon time, we read the gospel. And could you imagine trying to read without light? So holding the candles like that was a very special part of the service. Had a very particular role called taper bearers. And so when the gospel would be brought down to be read in the midst of people, the candles would not only light the way so nobody tripped, but they would also allow the person to read. And so at very important parts during the service, light would be held up so that everybody knew it was a very important part of the service. So we used, even though it may have been dark and cold, we tried to use all of our senses in the service. So maybe a little bit later in the service, you guys will all be holding those candles. Maybe you can lift them up at important parts in the service. Now, really quickly, in our gospel reading today, there was a party. What kind of a party was it? Does anybody remember? Charlotte? Sorry, did you have your hand up? You did? Okay, what kind of a party was it in the gospel reading? Do you remember? We use them for praying too. Yes, that's right. That's awesome. So in the gospel reading, it was a wedding. It was a wedding. Now, who's been to a wedding before? Was it fun? Yeah. There was the church service. There were some people that made some promises to each other and to God, and there was a whole community around that made promises to the people who were getting married and to each other to support the people getting married, and it was a great big party. But could you imagine having that kind of a party without any light? It would be kind of weird if you couldn't see anything, right? And guess what? In Jesus' day, weddings didn't just happen for one day. You got to party for a whole week. So you would need a lot of candles in the evenings, right? Because you would have to have another meal and another celebration. All of you parents looking forward to weddings a week, hey? Yes. So in our prayers today and in the readings, there's a mention about light. In the reading from Isaiah, it said that salvation is like a burning torch. For with you is the well of life, and in your light we see light. That was from the Psalm. And in our prayers today, we talk about Jesus being the light. So, lights are really important. We need light to be able to see and do everything, and we also need light to be able to celebrate. So that's why we have the candles up at the altar to mark this as a celebration. Because now, of course, we have electric lights, so we don't need to sit in the darkness like that. But we also look to Jesus as being that metaphorical light that shines a light in our hearts and in our souls and in our minds so that we can see, to help us see. What would Jesus be helping us to see? Charlotte?
Candle.
Yes, Jesus would be helping us to see candles. If Jesus is like a light in the darkness, he can help us see where we're going. That's right. Yeah?
Lead us to goodness.
He can help lead us to goodness. Excellent. Yes. Anyone else? Sorry, Gordon. Yes?
Help us see in the dark.
That's right. He can help us see in the dark, which is pretty important because we need to know where we're going. And it's easier to know where you're going and to see what you're doing when there's some light. So Jesus helps us see in our hearts and in our minds and in our souls the right things to do. So to love people and to not be afraid, to treat people with goodness, to treat people with care. It's easier to have a party and to celebrate and to treat people in that way when there's light. So just like the wedding, where there was lots of celebrating, Jesus helps us celebrate. So, we are going to carry on with the rest of our service, and we'll ask you to hold on to the candles because you're going to help us in the service and lift them up at the important parts of the service. So can you hold on to those for now?
We're going to continue with some prayers, and as Scott has said, the candles have always been a big part of our prayers. Now, can I get somebody just to put the mystery box, the empty mystery box, back up near the altar so it's out of the way? And Yuri and Sydney, do you guys feel okay about continuing to hold those candles very carefully as part of our prayers? Okay, I think you're okay without the book right now. Okay, so just hold it until you need to hold something else. That would be wonderful. Okay, I'm going to ask everybody to stand as we affirm together our faith.